Hello everyone, my name is Cletus and welcome to the Cleanse. So without further ado, let's get into this video. It's been a long time I haven't said this intro, but anyways guys, I'm excited that we are back. I've missed y'all so much. You have no idea. There was a time where I was like, no, I'll be able to post other videos in between for the next 3 weeks while we wait for the resumption of the Senzo Mewa murder trial. But of course, this also gave me a lot of opportunity to, kind of wrap up some few things at work and also wrap up some few things in my personal life and also get into other things that I am very much focused on, like growing Clantis on Business, a YouTube channel that y'all have come and supported me. I thank you guys so very much. My watch time has increased. I'm almost at my first 1,000 hours of watch time in order for me to get to the 4,000 hours of watch time. If you want to help me, please continue to do so. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go to Clantis on Business and you are going to find out what that channel is about. I hope it is something that is going to help you or somebody that you know in your life or somebody that may need those tips, tricks, and hacks on how to get a job or how to start a job or how to start a business online and make yourself some money. So without further ado, guys, before I go there, please do me a big favor by smashing the like button. All the arrows are pointing down. Why? Because I have not been posting. They are all gray and we need to get them back to green and pointing up by liking the video, guys. Very important that we get back to 1,000 likes on every video that I post on this channel. Anyways, guys, let's go to the Nogauteng High Court to Rata courtroom because I don't know if he forgot how he's supposed to behave like a judge. Remember the last days before they went to the recess? He started acting like a judge. He was listening. He was not interrupting. But today he was like the old rat that we all know, and we're like, here we go again. I don't know, maybe it was because of the Black Lawyers Association thing that humbled him a little bit. Now that it's over, he's back to his nasty business. I call it nasty because that's quite nasty what he did to Mr. Ramusipili. Even Ramusipili was even said, I was like, I lost my chain of thought. Why? Because the judge interrupted on something that he ended up agreeing with Mr. Ramusipili with. I was like, sir, I get what you are trying to do. You are seeing that Mr. Ramusipili is basically drowning the state by poking some nice holes in this Titanic of theirs, and it was starting to sink, and then you came to rescue the state by asking that frivolous question that he asked Mr. Ramusipili. And Mr. Ramusipili was like really caught off guard, and then he lost his chain of thoughts and even told the court that I lost my chain of thought, but he regained it. But what I'm very happy about when it comes to Mr. Ramusipili, he is starting to stand up to this judge. Remember how sheepish he used to be when the judge would basically interrupt him and then his chain of thought, and then he would say, no, I withdraw that. No, not this time around. Mr. Ramusipili is like, do your best, bro, and I'm coming with my best too. And I love that. Another thing that I also love is Advocate Mshololo. She is more assertive with Judge Rata these days. And I think he's kind of like backing off a little bit, because in the past he would basically shut her down. But this time around, Miss Mshololo, she is very much assertive when it comes to the judge, and she almost has like this threatening voice that you dare. I am going to go out there and I would rubbish every legacy you have on that bench type of situation. I'm not saying that is what she's thinking, but it's how when she approaches the judge, it almost sounds like. But anyways, guys, today was a total waste of court time. And I will tell you why. Because the fabrication of this case continues. You had Mukhani coming back. But before we get to Mukhani, I know I'm getting ahead of myself because I'm trying to say, guys, do you see that the client has been correct all this time? That this case is a fabrication. That the real case is with the 7 people that were with Senzo Mewa on the 26th of October 2014. Not these men that stand accused of killing Senzo Mewa. They are not the right people. They are not the right people. Each and every one of them, they are not the right people. And the witnesses today kind of like proved it, because they came there to lie through their teeth. We already know about Mr. Mukhani. He's a liar of note. Bayaka. Yaka just finished the state. He buried the state for the second time. It's already dead and buried. And then, of course, Baloyi would try his level best to try and resuscitate a dead horse. It's buried and gone. It's decayed. I'm not quite even sure if there is a horse heaven or hell out there. That's where it's gone to. And then this Yaka person comes and I was like, okay, no. Again, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's talk about what transpired in the beginning of the resumption of the Senzo Mayo murder trial. We knew that when we were going to recess 3 weeks ago, that the defense was going to get their ballistic expert and pay the ballistic expert on the that bullet head that was found behind a glass jar or something like that at the Kumalo house. And then we had, I can't remember who we had. I think it was not my banner. I almost said my banner, but it sounds along those way. Remember that ballistic expert was stood down so that the defense is able to get with Mr. Funder Maver, if I think it was, who was in Uganda training the Ugandan police, and unfortunately was to return to South Africa around the 10th or 14th of September 2023. I'm not quite sure what transpired thereafter. However, today we found out that he is actually quite expensive of an expert because he charges per day. Now you can imagine what the state will do if indeed they bring such an expert to the stand, and they will just finish the defense pocket, period, by keeping this particular expert on the stand for as long as they want and drain the defense of any coffers that they may have in order to pay this expert, or even create some kind of credit with this particular expert. So now we found out that the expert is quite expensive, and as a result, Mr. Ramusipili, I think, and Mr. Mngomezulu decided that they are going to approach the legal aid board to be the one that funds this particular expert. Now, we all know that Mr. Ramusipili is paid by the legal aid board, and Mr. Mngomezulu is not. Somehow they dropped him. This was to the irritation of Mr. Ratamukwateng, whom I thought he was being empathetic. Come on. You know, you've practiced law for how many years? 30 years. And you know that legal, ballistic experts, especially those that are independent, they don't come cheap. So of course it's going to take as long as it does in order for them to get the cheapest probably. And now they came up with a plan B and thought, oh, okay, instead of us putting all the money into this particular ballistic expert, why don't we go to the legal aid board, since Mr. Ramusipili is paid? In fact, not just Ramusipili, that also goes for Mr. Mnisi, Mr. Ngumalo, as well as Mr. Mshololo, except with Mr. Mngomezulu, whom I still think that he needs to take the legal aid board to court for this. Honestly speaking, it makes no sense. And it's also unfair to Mr. Muzi Sibia. Unfair to him that his legal representative is now being paid by legal aid board, and yet they are the one who caused this case de novo. You understand what I'm trying to say here? But anyways, that is where it is. And now Mr. Ratamukwateng ordered that the head of legal aid board should come to court, basically to explain himself, I suppose. I'm not quite sure how that is going to help the court, but I think maybe it's going to happen in terms of progress. Like they know whether the legal aid board is going to pay for these ballistic experts or not. If it's not going to pay for the ballistic expert, I'm not quite sure what is going to be the resolution of the court, because at the end of the day, Section 35 of the Constitution stands. It's very important that the accused must have a fair trial. And one of the ways of having a fair trial as an accused is by having a ballistic expert who is going to counteract or agree with the state ballistic expert. So it's going to be quite interesting how this head of legal aid board is going to answer this question. Hopefully, Mr. Ratamukwateng will also want to know from this head of legal aid board why Mr. Mngomezulu was kicked out by the legal aid board. Let's hear all these excuses and explanations. I'm quite interested in those. Now, let's go to what transpired on the stand today. Of course, Mr. Baloyi indicated to the court that the witness list has been updated once again. In my mind, I'm like, there's supposed to be 128 witnesses now. Why are we having additional ones? Oh, little did I know that he was going to recall Mr. Mukano the liar. Oh, that guy's a pathological liar. You know, when you lie so much that You actually think you are telling a good story when in fact people are like this? Are you sure you're telling something that you understand or you know? But anyways, Mr. Mukhanu was talking about a phone call that they got coming from Kalagabusha in Empangeni. It's a prison. I think it's in Empangeni, right? Yeah, I think it's in Empangeni. If I think I've been, not like I've been there, but I've passed by there before. It's not far away from, there's a mall there in Empangeni. It's almost like neighbors with that prison is beautiful. It's, you would not even think that's a prison. That's how nice it is. And I also heard that inside there are some really, really strict rules on how things are done. Apparently, even on the inside, you don't even realize that you are in prison because you are not treated like a prisoner, from what I understand. Now, when I was there, and then this man said he was the head of that particular prison, probably he's the guy who enforced those nice rules that many prisoners in KwaZulu-Natal will say, I would rather go to Kalagabusha. I've always heard people that are incarcerated begging their lawyers if they can be convicted and serve their sentences in Kalagabusha, because apparently there you are treated like a human being. And apparently the chances of rehabilitation in that prison are pretty high. So maybe he's the guy who's responsible for that. I must praise him if that is the case. However, though, what he was telling on the stand, I was like, sir, you know you are lying. He was stuttering. His voice was low. He had no confidence. That did not sound to me like a person who has been a head of a prison like Kalagabusha. Prisoners are very rough. You need to be assertive and you must speak with power and authority. But he was sheepish. He was sheepish because he knew that what he is about to tell the court is nothing but a cooked up story. And then the problem that I'm having with this particular witness is that I'm not even sure. I'm starting to ask myself questions about the death of Mabena as well, that somebody had to die so that they can be a scapegoat, if you know what I'm trying to say here. And then this particular individual, I thought he retired because he's gone past the age of 65. I think a male in South Africa retires at 65, a woman at 60. So he says he retired in 2021. And I'm like, so that means you were around 56, 57 years old when you retired. Is it a plan that retire so that we'll call you as a retiree so that you will not have any access to things that the court can see, touch, and smell? Because that's what Advocate Mshololo had gone to. And then this particular witness was like, well, I'm a retiree, and the things that you're asking of me are the state property. And then I had a light bulb moment. Just like Mukhanu, who would say, oh, it was me and my banner. Me and my banner. He knows that my banner cannot be called to the stand. And I've gone to as far as saying, this is what I call the Mabena excuse. That I'm going to use Mabena when it's convenient. And then when I know that he cannot be called to the stand, I'm just going to use his name. And then when you say something that Mr. Mabena and yourself, we have to do, you will say, oh, unfortunately, I cannot go and resurrect Mr. Mabena. May he rest in peace. That I was like, what is I think the court needs to have a standing rule that dead people should not be mentioned on the stand because they cannot be called. They cannot. So he needs to take accountability for what he needs to take accountability for. I do not believe a word that he said where he would say, me and my banner went here. And then when it's supposed to be where he answers some question, he will say, no, I was not there. Mr. Mabena was there. The Mabena excuse. So that is why I'm thinking, maybe this is all planned. Somebody had to die so that you become a scapegoat when we take the stand as the police. And somebody needs to retire early so that they will not have access to state properties, documents, etc. and so on. Guys, this is just my opinion. This is me just rubbing my two IQs together and striking some kind of sensibility on what I'm hearing in this courtroom, honestly speaking. So in my mind, I was like, if lies were a human being, Mr. Yaka is definitely one. Did I hear his name being Babsi as well? Anyways, that's besides the point. The contradictions between Yaka and Mukhanu were stark obvious. which of course leads you to think, of course, this whole case is a fabrication. Why are we even surprised? Now, here is something that really shocked me. The collection of evidence by Yaka, the MEI number of a cell phone. You telling me you are experienced police officer in 15 for the past 15 years and you still don't know how to collect evidence, package them, and then send them to the right people? Advocate Mshololo was on this guy's procedure or lack thereof, and the police keep getting exposed about their day-to-day work, which continues to lead me to asking this question. Do we even have a police academy in South Africa? Come to think of it, where is the police academy in South Africa? Do provinces have their own, or is it still Hammanskraal? I don't think Hammanskraal is still the police academy that trained all the South African police, I think. And why do I always feel like police training in South Africa may be a tender? And if it's a tender, is it by a former police officer, detectives, whatever the case is, or it's done by just an ordinary South African who can produce a space for police officers to be trained? Who's training them? Because the collection of evidence by the police in South Africa sucks. It's non-existent. We heard at the Senzo Mewa murder scene how the police behaved, how they were collecting evidence, and now this so-called evidence has led to some plantations. It's quite interesting if you ask me. So the question I was asking about this so-called cell phone, did it even exist? Well, it turns out it did exist because Ntuli did admit that a cell phone was taken from them, but it was not taken at 6 p.m. It was taken at 9 p.m. So in my case now, I was like, oh, okay, cool. There was a cell phone. It was confiscated. It was under, I think, Ntuli's bed. And then they got a call. A call from where? Was there a snitch in the cell that said, I don't know how they even got hold of getting this number and say, hey, there's a cell phone in my cell? I don't know. And then that is why Mr. Yaka and two other officers went to Ntuli's, cell. And then they found the cell because they just apparently asked for it. It's like, Ndota, give us the cell. And then he reached out and gave them the cell phone. To Ntuli's stitches. He was in stitches in the dog. In my mind, I'm like, is he laughing because he thinks the story is untrue? Or is he laughing because it just sounds funny? I didn't understand that part, but I think he was laughing because he realized that this man is telling nothing but a fib. So therefore, me, I was thinking, okay, yes, there was that cell phone because Ntuli says, yes, the cell phone was taken at 9 p.m. But I think the second cell phone was the one that was planted. And it was then assigned to Ntuli. Sometimes it was even assigned to Mr. Ntanzi because at some point, I think it was Mugano who mentioned Ntanzi and that the cell phone was found in Ntanzi's cell. I got really, really confused. Guys, please do correct me if I'm wrong here by commenting down below and clarify this cell phone. Was it found in Ntanzi's cell or was it found in Ntuli's cell? What is the issue there? Because I really didn't understand that part. Now, this is where my suspicion is. Yes, there was a cell phone that was found in Ntuli's cell, right? But I think there was a second one that was planted that came with Gininda, Mabena, and Mugano to Kalagabusha. That is why the EMI number was not captured. Because if the EMI number was captured, it was going to lead to all the activities that particular cell phone participated in, including whether there was a planned hit on Senzo Meiwa or whatever the case was. Because what they're trying to basically correct here is a mistake that they made about a particular period where they say in 2014 or 2015 or something around the license, somebody was already in prison. I think it was Ntuli who was already in prison. So they want to smear that Mr. Ntuli was the one that made arrangements of the killing of Senzo Meiwa or other stuff from within the prison walls. But this entire fabrication fell flat on its face. This was a lie. It was a lie. Even Baloyi's face, he was dumbfounded by what was happening because it's going to be on his name. The other thing that I cannot accept as a South African citizen is the pocketbooks getting lost. How are pocketbooks getting lost when you are going to be dealing with people's lives here? The fairness of the accused trial is very important according to Section 35 of the Constitution. So now when you are losing pocketbooks, that is chipping away from the fairness and prejudice of the accused. So no court in this country should accept that a police officer lost their diary where they jotted things down or the pocketbooks. As a matter of fact, I think there should be a law of some sort that a police officer that loses their pocketbooks, they ought to be charged with a criminal offense, defeating the ends of justice. Listen, if today was anything to go by, this proved that this entire case is a fabrication. I know I'm saying this for the second time because I'm emphasizing how much of a fabrication this particular case is. It was quite interesting to see Mr. Yaka stuttering when Mr. Mshololo was questioning him on his experiences as well as procedure. Like, how do you collect evidence without sealing it in front of the person that you have taken these things to? And after that, when did you transport these things to Johannesburg? It makes absolute no sense. As far as I'm concerned, what Mr. Yaka was trying to do was misleading the court. Perjury. He swore that he's going to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, so help him God. He did that on the stand before he testified, and yet he was lying through his teeth. Advocate Tim Shololo destroyed him on procedure. He started stuttering. I ask again, who trained our police? Where is the police academy in South Africa? And it's a sham, guys. It's a sham what's going on in this country. It looks like we are on our own. And since we are on our own, we are also doomed. You begin to see the sense in why some police officers, they think that they're above the law. They violate the Constitution on a daily. I've said this before, that I don't think the police in this country are doing as per how they were trained, if they were ever trained. Because in this country, if you are connected with somebody who has some kind of power, you get a job without being trained and qualified for that job. Possibly that's the situation we are having. So what do we do as a solution? I am saying we are in an election season. We are having politicians that are coming and knocking on our doors, and they are making old promises that they never delivered on in the past. And I see with other political parties, especially the ones that just started, they are regurgitating what the governing party has been saying all these years and never delivered on. They sound like a broken record. Right now, in my mind, I'm like, I am looking for a political party that's going to tell me, how are we going to deal with the safety of South African citizens? I want to hear a political party that's going to say how our tomorrow is going to be better. I want to hear things like, if I put my CV, will I be called for an interview and even highly likely get a job? I also want to know if when I'm from work, am I going to a home, a roof over my head? And then in that roof over my head, I have clean drinking water and I also constant supply of electricity. Those are the things that we want as South Africans. The second thing that I think they should also do is about our safety. How are you guys going to protect us? Now, I have a suggestion or a solution. Overhaul the South African Police Service. Deploy the army as well as private security companies to police our country for the next 10 years while a spring cleaning takes place in the subs. Trust and believe me, you are going to sift out police officers that were not supposed to have been being police officers to begin with. Let's start from the top, the minister, going down to the National Police Commissioner, going to provincial commissioners, down to the Zungu-like constable. Trust and believe me, when we clean out the SAPS for the next 10 years, we are going to have a safe country. We are going to have police officers that really care about the safety of the people of South Africa. That includes our borders. But no, you are not hearing all of these things from these campaign trails of these politicians coming to us. They're just regurgitating stuff that I keep hearing and I'm rolling my eyes. I'm like, oh, haven't I heard that before? I shouldn't be that type of voter that says that. Haven't I heard this before? Particularly from the governing party. How are you going to keep promising us the same thing and never delivers? Ever. So once you have overhauled, retrain the good ones, and then employ those that are going to be vetted and ensure that they are not going to commit crimes and befriending criminals and letting in people who are not supposed to be in South Africa to begin with, and then cause all kinds of havoc in our lives. All that South Africans want is a peace of mind. Is that so difficult to give us? I know I'm not alone in this one. But other than that, guys, that what transpired in Rata Mokgotleng's courtroom at the North Gauteng High Court. We had two witnesses that wasted our time, the court's time, with fabricated stories. That cell phone, the second one I believe was planted, is the one that they did not capture the MEI number. That's the one. So of course we want to know what was in there. Tangible things. I'm talking audio. What was discussed, that stain found in those cell phones? Let me tell you something. We're going to hear that, oh, this audio was corrupted. Or this audio, due to it sitting in so long, something happened to it. Because when it's convenient, there's an excuse. Like with my banner has become an excuse for Muganu. That's what it has become. It's unfortunate. So was there a plan for him to go so that he becomes a scapegoat? Was there a plan that this particular prison head retire early? Well, you make up your mind on that one. I've already rubbed my two IQs together, and that's what my IQs, when I rubbed them together, came up with. My opinion, by the way. Anyways, guys, if you like the video, give it a like. If you didn't like the video, give it a like. Anyways, do subscribe to my YouTube channel, and don't forget to click the bell notification so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. Thank you all so much. That's super thanking the channel. Even though I have not been posting, you guys continue to finance this channel by super thanking it. Thank you guys so much. May you be abundantly blessed. May where you take from, God feels even more 10 times fold. I highly appreciate you so very much. You have no idea what this money does. It doesn't come to me, by the way. It does other things in respect of this particular channel. I appreciate you so very much. Also, don't forget to leave me a comment down below and let me know, what did you guys think about what happened in the North Gauteng High Court? What did you think of Yaka? What did you think of Mohan? What did you think of this cell phone and the procedure that transpired, or lack thereof, of transpiration? Is it such a word? Anyways, you get what I'm trying to say. Let me hear your thoughts on this one. I'm very much interested. Also, share this video far and wide so that we can fetch more clan members to join this amazing family. I'll see you guys next time with a new video. Goodbye.